Well, we are still feeling those first quarter Hollywood blues. Box office revenue is low, with even those films coming in first bringing in paltry sums. With that, we look again to the smaller and independent releases. With award season upon us, there's no shortage of independent flicks vying for attention. One such film, which premiered last June at the Tribeca Film Festival, starring Oscar-winning actress Ariana DeBose, has just now gotten its theatrical release. And after viewing it, it's clear why it took 6 months to hit national theaters. Directed by Gabriella Cowperthwaite and written by Nick Schaefer, ISS is a film about, well, the ISS, or International Space Station for those who may not know. Its premise centers around a nuclear war breaking out on Earth between America and Russia, while a crew of American astronauts and Russian cosmonauts are currently living and working aboard the ISS. When war breaks out down below, both sides sends a message to their respective crews aboard the station to take control of the ISS by any means necessary. What ensues is meant to be a suspenseful thriller of crewmates who are supposed to be like family turning against one another. Trapped in a claustrophobic environment, with contact and support from Earth cut off as the ISS faces orbital decay without intervention from the space agencies on Earth, the members don't know who they can and can't trust, and the film is set up with an interesting premise that completely falls apart. ISS is a fairly straightforward suspense film without any suspense. While the idea of a nuclear war breaking out and cutting the ISS off from any communication, leaving them alone in space to fend for themselves, is certainly interesting, the film does nothing with this premise, using it to pit the scientists against each other on orders that don't make a lot of sense, considering the ISS is a civilian manned station, not under military control. One wonders if such orders would really be given. Though if one accepts both governments would want to maintain control of the station and could convince civilian scientists to turn on one another, the premise would still lend itself to some decent suspense and drama. Sadly, this is not the case. The film is predictable throughout its tired run, from overtly obvious foreshadowing executed in the most unimaginative ways possible, to a dull cast of characters who are generic archetypes never given enough development or real personalities to care about. DeBose as the lead gives an acceptable performance, but nothing that screams former Oscar winner, and any one actor in this film, including her, could easily be replaced. ISS is a film looking for a simple premise to pit survivors against each other a la Lord of the Flies. It's the exact opposite of last week's Society of the Snow in its attempt at showing the breakdown of societal norms when faced with a life or death situation. But these themes have been explored 1,000 times before in much better ways, including in the backdrop of outer space. ISS isn't completely abysmal, as for a low-budget indie film made for $13 million, its set pieces and effects are decent. But it is the worst kind of mediocre, a film that will bore you at best and becomes laughable at worst. Barely scraping in $3 million its opening weekend, it's safe to say ISS hasn't just fallen from orbit, it never made it into orbit to begin with. I give ISS 1.5 out of 4 stars.